Before we get this episode rolling, I'd like to shout out our awesome sponsors. First on the list, we have Fish Sauce with the Rod Positioning Gadget, also known as the RPG. It's a slick little tool that'll help you get your rod holders good and tight. Find them online at www.fishsauce.com. Next up, we have Anglers Unlimited. For those of you that like to support local businesses, these guys are doing it right. They have all the tackle you could possibly need under one roof. They also have a huge selection of fresh and cured baits. Robert and his guys are sure to get you lined out with what you need for success. Open 7 days a week from 4 a.m. to 6 p.m. Stop in and say hi, and be sure to tell them Clayton with Wet Net sent you. After that, we have Northwild Outdoors. Northwild is the top of the line when it comes to spinner blade patterns and paint quality. They also do custom paint jobs. Go check them out in Anglers Unlimited or Bob's Sporting Goods, and find them online at www.northwildgear.com. And last but not least, we have Coldwater Strong. Coldwater Strong makes the highest quality salmon and steelhead gear for boat and bank anglers alike. Find their gear online at www.coldwaterstrong.com. Oh man! Good morning, fellas. What's going on?
Hey, how's it going, brother? Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we're here. We made it. It's been a long time coming. We've been trying to get with you for a little bit.
I know. It's Clayton Dietz here, Wet Net Outdoors podcast. We're here at the 2025 Portland Sportsmen Show, and we've been trying to do this one for a little bit.
Yeah, we're tough ones to get in the same room at the same time, so this is a great setting for it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we were able to make it work out. Let's see here. I'm trying to think if there's any announcements I got to make. I don't think so. I think we could just dive right into you guys.
Sweet.
So sounds good.
Let's see here. Let's start with Dave, just because he's on my right. What's going on, Dave?
Well,
a little bit about yourself.
Well, let's see. This is one thing where me and Nick are kind of similar. We both went to college, played some sports. We were pretty good athletes, but then decided to leave college and start fishing.
That sounds awesome.
So that's kind of how we got. I got into it at a pretty early age. I've been doing it for 25 years. When I first started, I got my guide license here, but I also at the same time took a job up in Alaska, worked for a guy for a summer up at a lodge up there. And after being there for a couple of weeks, I figured out I could do this.
Yeah.
I could do this.
Yeah.
And next year came back, built my first lodge, and that was 25 years ago. And I've had multiple lodges up in South Central Alaska over the years, and then built the Oregon business up. And so, yeah, been going strong in Oregon and Alaska for quite a while now.
Yeah. Did you grow up over here?
I grew up in Newberg, Oregon, and fishing the coast a lot, and Clackamas, but then when it was probably about halfway through my career, that's when I moved down to Tillamook, and we started a place there, and love it down there, and Nick gets to join me for a good part of the year down there, so that's super awesome. But
probably live down there about as much as I live in my own house.
Yeah. How long have you guys had the Wilson River Lodge?
13 years now.
Okay, sweet. Yeah.
Yep.
I remember first time I ever heard your name was on one of the old was it Angler West videos maybe?
Yeah, or probably HogQuest.
HogQuest, that's right. That was the one.
Yep.
Shit, I forgot about HogQuest.
Yeah. HogQuest. That was in fact, that's when I started following Big Dave, was the HogQuest days. So.
Yeah. That was fun. I was like, shit, I was probably 13 years old watching that.
Right.
Dave was the I always tell people, like, with All Addicted and everything we do filming, he was the kind of the startup of the kind of the newer age, cutting edge, like, a little wild.
Getting a little excited.
Gets excited with fish. And
Yeah.
You didn't really see that in fishing shows.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why HogQuest was such a big part of the buildup of this industry.
Yeah. Little less cut and dry, a little less serious. You get to go out and actually show the fun of fishing instead of, this is how you do it.
And I think that's where it comes off with Nick and I, and a lot of the stuff we do. We're truly best friends, and it makes it real easy to film and get some good content for everybody.
We that's the best part about filming, is we go out, dude, and it's like, we do the same thing filming as we'd do if there was no cameras there. So it's just kind of like bring a camera along and you get what you get, you know?
Yeah. Well, you get to be genuine. You get to be yourselves. And
right.
there's nothing better than that. You don't have to feel like you're wearing a cover.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yep.
So, exactly.
What about you, Nick? Kind of where did fishing come in for you? Kind of what's a little backstory?
Yeah. So I loved fishing growing up. My dad and my mom would take me fishing as a kid all the time, all over the coast. And I was one of those annoying little kids that would come up and ask everybody what they're using and how to fish. And I was really good at compartmentalizing it and taking it and actually doing it. And then I got really good at fishing. And, I actually was involved in a bunch of sports. I did basketball and golf and stuff. And I went to college for a year and a half, and I got an offer I ran into this dude who had a friend that owned a place up in Alaska. And he's like, one summer, he's like, why don't you come up there and deckhand for me and just see what it's like. If you like it, maybe you can come back. And I went up, I booked a plane ticket to Alaska. At this time, I was doing just drift boat stuff. I had my drift boat stuff, and I was starting to get into the fishing, the guiding out of the drift boat. I never had a big boat or anything. And so he's like, why don't you come up and check it out? So I went up there, and I booked I was supposed to be there for a week, and I ended up changing my plane ticket like 7 times. I stayed, I think, almost 2 months. And it was like the most amazing thing for me. I'm like, dude, I got to come back. So I went and got my captain's license. And after I got my captain's license, I worked up there for about, 6 years, 6 years, 6.5 years, 5.5 years, something like that. Yeah. And in 2012, they cut all the regulations down. And I went from working around 100 days in a season to they were booking like 40, and it was really tough to get people to come up to Southeast Alaska for ocean halibut. And so I was at a crossroad, what do I do? And so I came back and did a little bit of sales, and my dad ended up getting sick with cancer, and he always wanted to see me guide. That was like his thing. He told everybody that I was the best fisherman. That was his prized possession. He thought it was the coolest thing ever. But so when he got sick, he's like, you need to just do it. So I went into work one day. He was on his last few months of life. I went into work, quit, threw in the pink slip, and just said, screw it, I'm going for it. Yeah. I ended up just kind of somehow navigating my way through this industry, which is a very tough industry to break into. And somehow I kind of found my way in there and then met this wild man. And the rest is history.
Yeah. How did you guys end up meeting?
Well, I don't know if you remember, I had a coffee shop. And
I don't think
so we had a coffee bait shop in front of our place. Tackle and everything. And Nick would be the first guy there, like every day. Yeah. Like he'd show up and be parked at the window like an hour before we'd even open. He'd be like getting the stuff ready and all this. And I didn't even know who he was. I just kept seeing this guy in the morning. And I had my own private launch. So sometimes I might be just getting up and look out the window and he'd just be pulling out, because it'd have to be the first one on the river. But then one day, there was like this red pair of Jordans sitting up on this ice machine. And I was like, I wonder if that's that guy that keeps coming here every morning and stuff. And so it was like the next day or something, he pulled in after fishing, and I was like, hey, are these your shoes? And he said, yeah. And then after that, we just started talking. He started coming over every day after work. And
I think that day when I left the shoes, I think that I knew it was Big Dave's, obviously. Right. I'm not an idiot. So I always, we fished around. In fact, kind of a funny story, but me and Dave, like, even when I was a kid, before I was guiding or anything, we would fish the same areas, and he would always beat me to the hole. Like, this guy was in there. I'd be like, oh, we got it. Me and my brother would go down there in the dark. And then I'd be like, damn, Dave's there. Yeah. And so I knew Dave, but when I left the shoes, that day we ended up sitting there BSing for, an hour or two. And then I just like, well, that was kind of fun. You know what I mean? We had a lot in common. We talked, and he's like, stop by whenever. And so it became like a routine of mine. I just would go by the house. Yeah. And
then probably a couple of years into that, us becoming buddies, we had a real bad winter.
Oh yeah.
And he was driving. He was coming to work. He was coming over the hill, and he crashed his truck, totaled his boat, totaled his truck.
No.
Yeah. And so he got a new truck, got a new boat, and then I was like, "Hey man, why don't you just start leaving your boat here?"
Yeah.
And, you know, at least then you don't got to drive with the boat. So he did that. And then a couple days later, he almost crashed again.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm like, man, why don't you just move in?
Yeah.
So I got a spare bedroom in the house, and I was probably 7-8 years ago or something. So Nick will come down and stay with me from mid-October. We take a good portion of December off, and then he comes back and we'll fish from first of the year till middle of April.
Yeah, right.
So we get a lot of. It's pretty cool. We've been able to create a lot of the stuff we've been able to create just because we're together all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it improved our fishing for sure too.
It's crazy.
We're in our, we're out in the shop every night, masterminding stuff and exchanging data and this and that. And we've just been able to get real creative out there over these years with a lot of this new stuff we got coming.
One of the really cool things we do, we fish together every day pretty much. We have a plan, the two of us, and one cool thing that we've done over the years is we'll call each other when we get a bite. It's the craziest thing ever. He will hook a fish and he'll call me and be like, "Hey, did you just get a bite?" And I will either have hooked one, missed one, or caught one.
Oh, that is awesome.
And we could be like 3 miles apart.
3 miles, 4 miles apart in the river. And so it's pretty cool because it's set up a window for us to know, like Dave's like, "Hey, I just caught one," and I know if I'm on fish, we're probably about to catch one. I mean, it's pretty crazy.
It's amazing.
It's
how
like you
that
guys
works.
are twins. You know how they say that twins can finish each other.
It
you can
That
feel
happens
it
a lot too.
you can feel it down in the loins.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
Literally.
yeah. So do you guys still have anything going on up in Alaska, or are you guys kind of done?
Yeah, I still-
your lodge burnt down. Didn't
Yeah,
it?
the lodge burnt down, but it was, and that was probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Right.
And if it wasn't for a lot of good friends and me being up there all those years, just knowing what not to do, that we were able to pull it off. It was pretty crazy. I mean, we were back fishing a month after it burned down.
No kidding.
Rebuilt.
And the logistics behind it
was
are
crazy.
so crazy. Just to get the raw materials up there, barging them,
Yeah.
and the low river water, and there's
Just,
so many things that had to go together to make that thing happen.
Yeah.
And then how many pounds of wood was it? It was like
we
I
had
don't
like
even remember.
40,000 pounds of
Jeez.
stuff.
And they had to move it twice.
Load the barge, unload the barge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. That's one thing a lot of people don't think about when a situation like that happens, and when you're remote like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a road within 130 miles of me. So.
Yeah.
But it was great. I mean, so we had a last year complete season with the new lodge, and this year we're back up running again.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
It's a pretty cool story. I mean, even our our community we've built between Addicted and
The whole community
just was so supportive of Dave and his family and getting through that time. The whole community, the fishing community and industry in the whole was just amazing. So
A lot of prayers and thoughts came out then.
Yeah.
it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was very humbling.
Yeah. What's this new deal you guys got going on with Jackwagon? That sounds like I was at the bash the other night, and that was cool watching you guys come in on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
I felt like it just felt the script of what you guys are doing. You know,
Right.
well, I guess it's not a script. That's just how you guys are.
It is kind of it, and that's the idea behind this. Dave had this idea while we were filming for a long time. I mean, Dave's been talking, we need to just do what we would do, and
let me interrupt you for 1 second.
He's got,
and this goes back to the Hog Quest days.
Yeah, right.
Like, the reason why Hog Quest was so popular and it was the #1 show for quite a while was because it was just us. It was a bunch of buddies going out fishing and having a good time. And I knew, with all the, I've filmed with everybody in the Pacific Northwest over the last 20 years. And I knew that when Nick and I got together that it would be the similar kind of thing, real true and a lot of fun. And that was always my alternative motive.
Yeah.
Even joining the Addicted team, the reason I joined the Addicted team was because I knew Nick and I creating content would be real good.
Yeah. Well, and you guys just got the chemistry. You guys can really feed off of each other, and it makes
it's
it a lot of
crazy
fun to
because
watch.
it's so it's so natural for us. It's hard. A lot of people don't understand. You put a camera in front of you. Yeah. I mean, even filming something like a podcast, it's like you put a camera in front of you and people struggle with it.
Right.
And it's hard to be natural and kind of have that come across to the audience. And that's what's so awesome between us, dude. It's like camera or no camera, it's the same show. So you're just, you know what I mean? It's like,
and that's where this Jackwagon channel is going to shine with the things we do. So, you know, our concept with this is you guys are gonna see some motor type things. We're like the episode 1 that we showed some highlights of. We take this motorcycle sidecar. It's a Ural. It's a 2-wheel drive motorcycle. They've been making them since World War II. And we go on a crazy adventure. We strap rods and backpacks to this thing and go off-roading and catch some steelhead. And it was a real fun trip. But that's the kind of stuff we're going to be doing. You're going to see some helicopters and some wild jet boat driving and
maybe some mini jet boats.
Maybe
just some.
So we're gonna have an adventure and some type of a something. and
it's still gonna be based
fishing.
around fishing and hunting. You know, we're still gonna do the things we love to do, but do them the way we would. You know, if we want to go out and have fun, it's like we launched that video, I don't know, 2 years ago, where Dave and I took the 4-wheeler and pulled the drift boat through the snow. And that was another Dave idea. So here's the real truth: is Dave is the mastermind behind all the videos. He's the one that just comes up with these crazy ideas, and then I just have to go.
You look good doing it.
Even in the Ural, I'm like, dude, when we were doing this, he's like, he maybe drove this thing for 10 minutes. Not even 5 minutes, I bet. And these things are the scariest motorcycle. We were watching videos of these guys that would go in, like professional motorcycle drivers that have YouTube channels, and they would go in to buy one of these things, and they're like, this ain't for me. It's too dangerous. Dave drives it for 5 minutes, and then he's like, we're sitting in his front yard. I got to tell this part because it's amazing. It's so funny. We're sitting in his front yard, and he's like, you know, he's warming it up and taking the bike, and he goes to rip around the corner, and I just see the whole cart lift up off the ground. You know, he does like a 2-wheel drive, and then flips it back, and he's like, all right, we're good. And I'm like, dude, I'm not going on Highway 6 in that thing. And he goes, yes, you are. And I'm like, no, I'm not. We're trailering it. And he's like, nope, get in. And I'm like, well, see, this is what I mean. I don't have a choice in this. So I just hopped in. And I will say, like, once you get over that, like, initial, like, you know, anxiety of it or whatever, it was one of the coolest things I've ever done. I mean, we were ripping 60 miles an hour in this little thing down the highway and taking it all over in the woods, and it was just it
was a lot of fun.
And that's what this content and Jackwagon is going to be about, is just get out, do some crazy stuff that you wouldn't see the normal guys get out and do. And,
and part of this goes, you know, I used to want to be a stuntman when I was a kid. I used to like perform stunts, you know, like all kids did, jumping bikes and this and that.
Street bike Tommy or whatever.
Whatever. So we're gonna try to relive some of that stuff.
That's right. Just at a little higher age.
No kidding. Oh man, let's see here. You guys got Jackwagon. Oh, Catch Zone.
Catch Zone, baby.
Yeah,
God, it's doing great too.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to, you know, within a year's time, it's really getting out there, and we're creating more stuff. We're cleaning it up, and real exciting with Catch Zone.
Yeah, and you know, that's the thing with the app that a lot of people, you know, that the user doesn't understand is, you know, you have this interface, and you got to get it to the public so the public can help you, you know, fix things or say, hey, we want to see this or that. And we also need to fix things. And so that year we spent just dialing it in, man. And it's getting, it's going to be the real deal once we get all the mapping and everything finished. I mean,
and
right
that's
now,
not far off. We should have that mapping done, I think, end of March. So we're going to have the same map as Onyx. It's 3D, super awesome.
And can track and pin and just a lot of the stuff. And then this is something that Dave and I have talked about forever. This app is something that's been needed in the fishing community. There's so many different, not just the regulations piece of it, but if you're a new fisherman coming into fishing, it's overwhelming. Yeah, there's a ton of YouTube videos and all that stuff, but then how do you find the places to go, and how do you know, it's like, so this tool gives you everything. You know, you click on a river, it'll tell you what's in that river, you know, when you can fish for them, when you can harvest them, the techniques to use for them. You can look at the river levels, the wind, the weather. I mean, it is
the tides, and
it really is the all-inclusive app, and that's our goal in this whole thing, was to create an app that is number one, the fishing community needed, and number two, that has everything in it, you know, for the fishermen. So we're excited about it, man. And it's gotten some really good, I mean, it's going really well.
Got some traction. I think we're over 5,000 active users now.
Yeah.
So,
nice.
And you can, and the cool thing too is it's kind of cool to see the industry kind of start to, see it and accept it and come by and talk to us, and, and they're starting to get involved with it. So it's pretty cool, and I'm excited for the future with it.
Yeah, yeah. How did you guys kind of meet EJ and come into all this stuff?
Well, EJ was a client of mine, and then I started fishing with both of us, and he was like, he had this idea of the he got the auto populating, he got the auto location for the catch code, and he got that going, and then pretty much after that, Nick and I came in and we're like, these are the things that fishermen need.
Yep.
And between the three of us, we've got it all.
And
put
you got to
together,
get EJ has been
he's working hard, man.
This guy puts in countless hours on this thing, and a lot of the data mining, like all of the rules and regulations, and he does a lot of that stuff on his own.
Probably 3 months.
Yeah,
I want to say.
And we wrote all the tips and tricks, and I wrote a lot of pieces in the tips and tricks sections. I mean, it's just been handcrafted by us, but the big piece of it was EJ had this idea, and came to us with it, and we were like, yeah, we're interested to help you with it, but here's what needs to happen, and we've all come together now and just created this thing. It's that I think is going to be real special. Yeah,
and it seems like a whole team effort. You guys have got EJ, you guys got Big Dave and Little Dave, and then you guys got
right.
Jen and all the way to TJ. Creating content and stuff like that's just it's super cool to watch everything just mesh and come together. And
and then we got Addicted. Obviously starting to back put us involved with Addicted, and it's just, that's what's kind of nice between Dave and I. We have a lot of facets that we can come in, and there's a lot of supporters out there for us, so it's been awesome, man. I think it's really going to be the next big thing for the fishing industry as far as an app goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, we just did an episode with Little Dave and EJ a couple episodes ago. Mm-hmm. So if the listeners here are interested in kind of diving in depth into Catch Zone, go back 2 episodes. They got everything from how the app was developed to how to use it, and some more interesting stuff like that.
Awesome. Cool. I forgot you guys did that. That's great for the people, and that's another thing too with the app is like that those type of things, doing little things like that with you guys is important, because then it shows the user how to because a lot of people technology is new for some guys, and in fact I had a couple guys at the booth the other day. They were so awesome, dude. It was like 65, 70-year-old man with our app, and he's like, oh, show me how to, I walked him through a few things, and he was just so excited about it, and it's cool to see. So.
Well, it's fun to see the engagement that EJ and everybody's having with the users too. It's not just hey, download our app. It's hey, if you come and download our app, we're going to do a sexy little dance for you.
I saw that was pretty funny, dude.
But just seeing how they're interacting with all the users and everything, it gives it a different feel.
And that's something I think that's so cool about it with the users. There's so many different kind of users that this can be beneficial to.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a brand new fisherman, you haven't been in this area very long, Oregon or Washington, I mean, it's almost like a must-have.
It's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer to get that app, and even for the guy that's super experienced and this and that. To have everything on one page and not going to 5 different pages to figure out what's going on. I mean, the weather page just in itself is amazing with everything on one page.
Yeah, and I'll use this as an example just to kind of dive a little more into it. This year, one of the areas I fished was the most regulated and confusing areas I've ever fished. I mean, even me as a guy that's fished there my entire life, I was having a hard time dissecting the actual regulations, because you'd have to go to all these different pages, and then there was 2 different answers that they were giving you. Go into the Catch Zone app, pull it up, boom, there it was. The first thing that when you click on the river is the emergency regulations for the 2 fish limit that they had put in place, and which was really cool. So it's just one of those things. It doesn't, like Dave said, experience, not experience. It could be beneficial for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's see here. We got about 5 minutes left before we got to cut to a quick break. Let's dive into some quick. How about some winter steelhead reports on the rivers that you guys touch on?
That'll be a big day because I took a little time off with the family this January. Had a little medical thing pop up with my wife, and so
gotcha.
But I'm getting back into it here
I hope she's doing all right.
Tuesday.
Yeah, she's doing okay. Yeah, good. Tuesday, hopefully I'll be back in the game.
Good. So, well, Dave, what are you seeing? You got to kill 4 minutes for me.
Everybody, everyone was pretty much dealing with the same thing. I guess I would say the second half of January till maybe not anymore, but low clear water and very cold. Yeah. So that was kind of the story up and down the coast and kind of everywhere. I did fish. I guess the one nice thing. I didn't have a lot of pressure. There wasn't a ton of people fishing during that time frame. I actually started on the 3rd of January, and it was consistent fishing. Not, I didn't have any like real crazy days, but you could go out and catch a couple of fish. But low clear water, and I'll tell you guys, if you're fishing low clear water, you got to be sneaky.
Yeah, sneaky. Well, low clear water, sneaky. And then you throw in the cold on top of it, and that's about the worst case steelhead conditions you could ask for.
Yeah, right. and I would just, the days, that I had guys that were fishing real well, mending correctly, not being splashy. I mean, it's all the way down to your boat. I mean, if you anchor up too close to the hole or you're too loud even coming in or going out or whatever, like you just have to be a fish ninja when it's low and clear. But if you can do that, you're going to catch some fish. Yeah. So it was, it was okay fishing for, guys that could do it.
Yeah. That's I think a helpful thing for people is like they don't realize that when we talk sneaky, we're talking like when you cast way away. When you reel in, you swing your rod. I mean, there's so many things that you could do to help yourself be more successful, but you see it all the time. A guy will come down, he'll bang his boat down the shallow rapid, anchor 10 feet off the hole, and then not catch them. And they just get, I mean, these things are crazy. I mean, their vision, it would, out of the water is pretty incredible. I mean, you watch them when you're coming down in a boat in clear water, they're seeing you way before you're seeing them.
Yeah. So. I even get down to where like I'll fish a hole and I know there's fish in there, and like say we catch one, and then we land the fish, and I'll try to get the fish in just as sneaky as we can too, just try not to let them blow up the hole, get them netted, and then instead of like, all right guys, we got one, cast back in and get one. You know what I do? I make you sit there for a half an hour.
Right.
Don't even look at the hole. Like, we're gonna sit here for a half an hour, and then
go find
if
rocks.
They're in there, you'll make a couple casts and probably hook one. But
it's not like when you're trolling 360s or something like that. You're getting into them. Let's get them back in. We're on them right now.
And I see guys do that a lot. Or even if your bobber goes down and you swing real hard and then turn around and cast real quick, or reel out of the hole real fast and then cast back in. You just ruined it.
One of the things that drives me crazy is your guy will be drifting down, his bobber will go down, and he'll reel and miss him, and then they reel in, and I'm like, no, don't ever do that again. Open your bail and let it keep going, because if you you already cause a big disturbance by missing the fish, and then now you just reeled it right across the top of where they're laying, and it's the worst thing you could do. If that happens, open your bail, let that thing float out.
And you might even get lucky and they come back and get it too.
It's but those are the worst, the hardest conditions you can ask for. What he's been fishing in, and we experienced it 4 years ago. That probably somewhere in there that it was super low, and it's tough. I mean. But the good thing this year is there's fish everywhere. They're up and down the coast. There's Washington all the way down to Southern Oregon. There's steelhead being caught in every single tributary, and you don't see that all the time. And so hopefully that keeps people spread out. That's the objective. If we could keep people, when there's fish in every river, there is no everybody crowded together, because you can go so many other places.
So, and I definitely think it's cool that as a couple guides, there are ways to be successful in these less than favorable conditions. It's not just the offering; it's how you're presenting the offering down to how you're operating your boat, and there's ways to be successful in these conditions.
You got it, and I promise you, if you listen, it'll help you.
Right. So, alrighty, well, we're going to go ahead and cut to a quick break here, and when we come back, we're going to dive into some more fun stuff, I think.
All right, I like it.
Sounds good.
Yep, sounds good, guys. We will be right back. Are you a fisherman looking for a rod that can handle the diverse fisheries of the Pacific Northwest? Look no further than Talon Rods. Whether you're trolling the Columbia River for salmon, chasing massive oversized sturgeon, or targeting kokanee on our high mountain lakes, Talon Rods has you covered with high-performance rods built for every type of fishery in the region. The best part is every rod is 100% made in the USA, crafted with pride right here in the Pacific Northwest. Talon Rods doesn't just stop at quality, they're also direct to consumer, meaning you get a premium hand-built rod at a price that won't break the bank. Why settle for less when you can experience the best? Talon Rods, built by anglers for anglers. Visit talonrods.com and get yours today. That's talonrods.com. Boogie. But we're back from our little break.
We're back from our break. We just figured out your new intro.
That's right. It's gonna be 3 claps and a little shimmy.
Yeah, 3 claps and a shimmy.
Love it. Hey, I wanted to say one more thing when we were talking about low water fishing.
Yeah.
That I forgot about. That's something I think we should touch on because
fire it in there.
Well, it just happened, and I actually forgot to tell you about it.
Oh boy!
But,
what? Secure your net?
Well,
no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so Beans Nick hasn't been fishing. I've been borrowing some of his stuff, losing it a little, but that's normal.
Yeah. But we recovered.
We recovered most of it. But anyways, what I was going to say real quick, guys, when we get this low clear water, and this goes out to the bank fishermen, one thing that happens, it happens everywhere, and it just happened the other day where we fish. You get this low water, guys want to wade and cross the river and get to the greener side of the field there, Yep. And it happens almost every year where somebody crosses and they get caught in the current. And, we had a guy die a few years ago. Well, almost
2
every
of them.
year. Yeah. And just happened again the other day. The guy made it, but got swept down the river with a backpack on, trying to cross to get to the other side.
Sure.
Yeah, and he got hung up in a tree.
Oh, no.
But he got out, but it was real crazy. So that was just something I wanted to touch on, you guys. And also, pulling your drift boat when it's freezing cold. I mean, that's how me and Nick became friends. Sometimes it might be worth going at 10 o'clock instead of first light just to watch those roads. They're not worth dying over, guys.
Yeah, and to be honest, the day that I wrecked, it was cold. There wasn't snow on the ground or anything, but it was just straight black ice, and you would have never known it.
Yeah.
And actually, 2 of us wrecked that day.
Yeah.
Oh no,
we won't talk about.
Yeah, we won't talk about the other guy though. But we double wrecked. But it's just a good thing to note. We really appreciate the feedback, David.
Yeah, thank you. Just want everyone to be safe out there.
That's my DJ voice.
Yeah. Very nice, very nice. Well, let's see here. So we talked about Jackwagon, we talked about Catch Zone. What about Addicted? You dove into a little bit of Addicted. How did the Addicted stuff start with you?
Yeah, so like I said, when I came back in, I went full time, and I was new to social media at the time. Mm-hmm. Like a buddy at work set my account up and built my profile and all my stuff, and he's like, dude, you got to use this as a platform. And I didn't know anything, dude, but I was posting and started to grow this thing, and all of a sudden I started to get some feedback. I was kind of known for springer fishing in the Willamette. There was a couple of years where I had incredible seasons.
Yeah.
And so
I feel like you've always just kind of been known as a herring guy.
Yeah.
Whether it's buoy 10 or springers.
Yep.
Anyways, continue. I'm sorry.
And I do both. I mean, now I've transitioned to a lot more pro trolls and stuff, but and at super series flashers and that type of fishing. But my original, what got me kind of, in the public eye was my herring fishing for spring Chinook, a fall, but this year I was posting, and I had followed Addicted, just from being in the industry. You kind of started to hear words of, that was 2015, the end of 2015 when they reached out to me. Yeah. And Marlon had reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to do one of the live feeds.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy because we were doing it back in Cameron's garage at this time.
Oh, that's right.
And so I drive out there. And I'm nervous as hell, dude. I'm like, I'd done some seminars and stuff for like steelheaders and stuff, but this is different. You're going in on one of the bigger little, at the time they were really, that was when they started to really get a name, and, they were branding and stuff. And I go over there and they wanted me to talk about Willamette Spring Chinook, and I was real nervous because I didn't know the guys, I'd just, seen them here and there. And so when I got there, it was pretty cool. They were. It was weird. It was kind of like we were all buddies. Like, you know, you walk into a room and I felt comfortable, and all of a sudden, you know, I did that little live feed and just kind of started hanging out with them more, and before you knew it, it was like we were filming in my boat, and then, you know, I filmed with them off and on, and just I was one of those people that just was kind of always there to, like, dude, if you need anything, I'll help you out, and I think that's what's so awesome about our Addicted. The people behind the scenes of Addicted are unbelievable, because we have so many of those people dedicated to help us, you know, and just help build this thing, and so they reach out to me, and I've just kind of, you know, been there for a long time, and then people started to enjoy the content I was creating, and, you know, with the guys, and so yeah, Marlon ended up kind of putting me in there. But, you know, it's kind of funny, that's how Dave and I kind of, you know, he touched on it a little bit, but actually one of the first video me and Dave had talked a lot about filming together, like as we were friends and stuff, you know, but we had never done it, and you know, I was with Addicted, and Dave had done Hog Quest and Anglers West and every other thing you could possibly do, and, you know, in the fishing industry, and he's like, he was filming Anglers West one day, and actually it was Dave Turing from Gold Rush, and he's like, you're gonna film with me. He's like, you're gonna come with us, and I'm like, well, hell yeah, dude. So he, you know, I rode one of his other Clackercraft boats at the time, and went with Dave Turing, and we filmed that Anglers West episode, and it was a really awesome episode. I mean, it turned out so good, and then I think it was maybe like a week later, we were filming for Addicted, and you know, Dave's reception on Addicted, and Dave's been a huge part for, I mean, a huge puzzle piece for Addicted, because he brings that kind of crazy, funny, you know, just naturally just wild maniac Dave, you know, mentality, and there's so many people that relate to that. And then you put us two together, and it's just, I think that it's where we're at with Addicted right now. The puzzle pieces are there, you know, and it's like we all do such an important role, and we all take our parts in this thing, and that's what's so amazing. And Dave was a big piece to, you know, I tell people all the time, Cameron Black, you know, is in my opinion, the most vital piece to Addicted, because he's such a
he's a wealth of knowledge.
Oh, just
he has a photographic memory.
Well, and that's another thing that I love about Addicted is you guys are such a well-oiled machine. I mean, you guys, the educate, entertain, and inspire. You guys have all three of those just in your different people. You know, you guys have you two entertain the fuck out of everybody. You guys have Cameron, that's a big educator. You know, it's like everybody inspires.
And you know, the cool thing about Cameron is he is one of those, like, you go to our bashes and stuff. Could you imagine me and Dave with the microphone in our hand the whole time, just trying to keep things organized? We'd be beatboxing and making jokes, and you know, it's like,
and you guys would basically just be Clint.
Exactly. Just maybe a little worse. I don't know. But you know, that's why it's so awesome what we have. It's like Marlon is just the brains behind it all. Cameron is the guy that kind of keeps the glue together, and just the wealth of knowledge, and in the fishing industry, he's so well respected that it's pretty cool. And then you bring Dave in, and now we got this guy that's been filming for, you know, already has a huge fan base, and I think that Dave was, I think, in my opinion, you know, this may not be everyone's opinion, but you know, Dave kind of brought those people to Addicted that were maybe on the fence. Some of them, you know, they'd follow Dave's stuff, and maybe, you know, or whoever's, you know, and they weren't real sure. But when Dave came in, I think it was one of those things where they're like, okay, well, if Dave's doing it, it's the same thing with Cameron. What kind of got Marlon going was bringing Cameron on board. And there's that, you're always going to have these people that are outliers that want to maybe view it, don't really know about it. And you bring someone like Dave on, and they're like, oh, this is what they needed.
Well, and it just helps. It helps bring a sense of credibility to it all, you know, because back when Addicted started, I had talked to a handful of guys. I don't really remember when Addicted started. You know, I was young enough, but it sounded like it was a bunch of people had the idea. It was a bunch of, you know, punk kids that are just recording and you know, doing all this, and then you get Cameron Black, and it brings some credibility, but they're still haters. And then you get some of the guys, like you had said, that, you know, kind of follow Dave. And Dave jumps on. There's a second source of credibility there. You know,
and so that's where it's, you know, we all have a pretty good name in the industry, and we've all, you know, we all are involved in this industry, and there's nothing more we want to see people succeed, and you know, hopefully we kind of carry the torch and continue to do this thing and,
Yeah.
you know, take it to the next level. I mean, it's amazing what it's done, you know, and this is kind of a little thing we're going to, you know, we've maybe showed it one time, but, you know, we have some lures coming out and stuff that we've been working on.
Well, it's not just a lure there, Popov.
I didn't want to go too deep in.
Well, we've shown it on a few videos. The first one would have been early spring last year. We went out.
That's right.
With our new blade, and I think we hooked. We didn't see another fish caught that day.
We had 6 bites,
six
and 5
bites
on it.
and
Really?
5 on that.
Yeah,
And it was the back rod.
Yeah, and the back rod too. I mean,
Yeah.
they were passing up my herring teeth. Thinking it was pissing me off.
Yeah, but it's,
That's awesome.
It's a pretty neat thing that we've been working on for a couple of years now, and we're just about to go into production.
Yeah.
I can tell you this: if you troll and run a 360,
You're gonna want it.
you will be getting one of these.
Well, you'll be getting lots of these because that's the other thing too, is it's kind of going to change the landscape of the trolling industry, like what you can do with this thing. So
It's not just like a spinner blade, right?
We reinvented it.
we
Let's say that.
reinvented
Gotcha.
the spinner blade more or
Okay.
less. It's just it's something that's never been done.
Yeah.
Like even when we sent it to
To the
have
biggest stamping house in the country, they were blown away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they sent us an email back and they're like, "Dude, we've never seen anything like this."
Right,
This is
right.
sick," You know, so
And it's very effective.
yeah, and then just to double on that, you know, we had a couple days. There was a few of us who got to fish these, right? Like me, Dave, Cameron. I think Marlon fished them a couple times. We only have a handful of them to use, and there was days where if I didn't have that thing, now I would have never caught. I mean, I might have caught a fish or two somewhere along the line, but
Yeah.
that one day out of buoy 10, there was fish all over. Nobody was getting them, and I had 12 bites in a row on my bow rod that had that thing on it, and
Yeah.
I mean, it just kicked ass, you know.
Yeah.
And then there were some other days in the spring that, you know, it killed every fish we caught. That, you know, I had a day with my John that's in our videos and stuff that we hunt on his property over there, and he was with me, and he's like, give me the lure, because we'd fished all morning without a bite.
Yeah.
He clips this thing on, we troll 50 feet and catch one. I'm like, dude, that, you know, we gotta go make another pass. That could be a fluke, you know, because I was seeing fish in there.
Right.
We make another pass, he catches another one. I'm
Yeah.
like, what in the hell is going on? I was like, before we knew it, all of us had them on, and we ended up killing our fish that day. So
Yeah.
it really is cool. It's just going to be, like I said, it's kind of reshapes the landscape of the spinner industry. So
Yeah. That's
it's
awesome.
pretty exciting.
That's exciting stuff. I'm sure you piqued a lot of people's interest right there.
Yeah, there's going to be.
It's going to be pretty neat.
Yeah.
Actually, there was a guy that was in my boat at buoy 10 yesterday that was telling Dave, he's like, "Oh, he had 6 of them, and then now they're all gone."
Yeah.
You know, he's trying to steal them from me.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny. Well,
Yeah.
let's see here. We got 15 minutes left in time. You guys got anything else you want to touch on? We are here at the 2025 Sportsman Show, and I'm sure there's plenty of people here that are wanting to see you guys.
Yeah. We're probably, you know, we're right about to start the show right now, so we should probably jump off here. But
Yeah.
I will say, come out and check out, you know, go to check out our YouTube channel. You know, check out Jackwagon. There's actually a QR code that we will start to push around that you guys will be able to subscribe to the channel, the early subscribers, and then once we hit a little certain number, we're going to launch this thing, and I promise people are going to want to follow along with this one.
Right. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
Jackwagon.
Well, I wanted to take a second to thank you guys, and honestly thank Addicted and thank everybody. You know, as a small podcast, I started this just over a year ago, and I took a little bit of a break, and we talked about that beforehand. But everybody from Addicted has been more than welcoming, you know, and I think that just it's kind of a testament to you guys and what you do. It's like you can take a small nobody like myself, and then I get to go and have genuine conversations with Marlon and Cameron and you guys, and you know, Brandon Traeger and everybody. So you guys have all been super welcoming to me, and I just want to say thank you guys.
Absolutely.
You bet.
That's what this thing's about too. You
Yeah,
know, I mean,
that's
that's
what it's
it.
all
We're building a community of people, and we want to see that is why when we do our drops and all our stuff, we use the local manufacturers and these smaller guys and these smaller painters, and because we want to see everybody have the opportunity to succeed, and there's only one way to do it in this industry, and it's together. So, and
absolutely,
we appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Well, we got a little bit of information out of there. We had some fun, and now we're gonna go. Now we're gonna go talk for a few hours.
Now let's go lose our voice.
That's right. That's right. Well,
hey, if any of you guys out there want to get fishing with us, look us up. Love to get you out. I know I've got a few days open for springers in May and June, and I am going to do something a little different this year too.
That's right.
I am going to do a few weeks in August for the Summer King Run. So if some of you guys are not into the Buoy 10 program and you want some real quality fish and a real easy, nice, beautiful place to fish, give me a call.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right on.
As always, if you guys are liking what you're hearing and seeing so far, please be sure to leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, share us out there with your friends, and we'll see you guys here on the next one.
Right on, buddy. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you, brother.
Pound dog.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Later.